This is KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications. This is KHQA. It's your news now.
And this is Saturday, June the 16th, and you have entered Overtime, where we're happily wishing all the dads, granddads, and pop-pops out there all the glad tidings of this Father's Day weekend. It is truly the best and most important job in the entire world, along with motherhood, so here's to all of you and all you do. Now, some would call this the slow season for local sports, but not for us, as always. The KHQA sports team was out grinding for local highlights and stories on this steamy Saturday. We've got to look at the rising trend of Wood Bat League baseball. We've also got Legion highlights for you from baseball, plus we continue our June tradition with sneak peeks ahead into the upcoming basketball and football seasons. But we start tonight with the Prospect League games that weren't. Mother Nature intervened on a couple of big games tonight for the Gems and for the Cavemen. Both games tonight postponed due to rain. The Gems will play a twin bill tomorrow with Springfield. That starts at 5 o'clock. Hannibal will also be at home for a twin bill with Terre Haute. That game starts just a bit later at 6:05. Well, the Prospect League may generate all the headlines and dominate the local media this time of year, but the Hannibal Cavemen and the Quincy Gems don't hold a monopoly on the wood bat baseball fun here in the Tri-States. Our Ross Green hit Payson this morning to discover the joys of the WCIBL, because after all, why should the college kids get to have all the fun?
On a scorching summer afternoon in Payson, you'll find one of the area's many summer baseball leagues. But there's something different about this league. Everything looks normal, but it's not about the look. It's the sound.
There really is something special about playing with wooden bats, and it just takes you back to when you played, whether it was high school or college or whatever, and it's definitely a special feel.
This is the West Central Illinois Baseball League, and these are their trademark. Although wood is still popular in the pros, you won't hear that unmistakable crack of the bat many other places these days.
Well, it gives you something you don't get the chance to do in high school because they make it the new BB Core bats, and with wood it kind of finesses your swing a little bit, because the worse the swing, the ball's not going to go as far.
I know when I played Little League, we used wooden bats way back then, and now everything's aluminum, so I think it goes right along with the tradition. You know, I'm a huge baseball fan. I think wooden bats are great. It gives you a true feel of the game, and you know, you're not going to get a cheap home run in this league. You know, I like the wooden bat, and it feels great in my hands, so a lot of guys are doing pretty well with that.
Denny Beckman helps to organize the 6-team league, currently in its 4th year of existence. Teams hail from both Illinois and Missouri, all of them helping to preserve one of baseball's most classic traditions.
You don't want to see anything with wood go away because it's what the sport was really raised on. So it's kind of nice to keep it from falling to the wayside. For the most part, I think everyone enjoys it, other than the stinging on a bad hit. But yeah, you don't really want to let it disappear altogether.
It takes us back to, in some ways, to a nicer day. It also gives us a connection to professional baseball, where fortunately they do still use wooden bats.
Interest in the league has grown from year to year, mainly because of its one requirement. You just have to enjoy playing the game. And that brings in players of all ages.
I love the game. It's absolutely the greatest game ever, and it's marvelous to have a chance to get together with other people that enjoy the game and get out there and run around a little bit on Saturday.
It's an opportunity to play baseball again for a lot of us guys that, you know, high school might be the last time you play. There's quite a few ex-college players in here like myself, and then you've got guys that have just gotten, sick of softball and want to play baseball again. So it's a great opportunity for that. And, it's not required that you had to play high school or college. It's pretty much anybody that can, put on the spikes. So it's for everybody.
No denying there's a certain charm in playing baseball the old school way, and that keeps everybody coming back.
It's nice to see how so many different people are still trying to keep their fun and passion for baseball alive and not just giving up when high school's over.
I look forward to this every Saturday. The opportunity just to play the game is unbelievable, and to do it with a traditional wooden bat, you just can't beat it. And like I said, some of us don't play softball anymore, so this is another opportunity to get out here and light it up with a wooden bat and get back on the mound and see what you got.
Ross Green, KHQA Sports, Payson.
Great story, Ross. Let's go to the younger guys. Legion baseball today. Quincy at Jerseyville. Johnny Mannion out of Payson on the hill today. He was in full control with the strikeout here, riding a 5-0 lead at that point and helping his own cause right here. Boomerang ball right inside the right field line. Couldn't have hit that any better. Scores a pair of runs, extends the lead out to 7-0. Later, it's Jordan Chappell stepping up. He's in every overtime, it seems like. Maybe we should pay the kid a royalty. Right here with 2 outs, drives one to deep center. That extends Quincy's lead at that point to 8-0. Later, Kramer Barnes stepping to the plate. Good piece of hitting, maybe not Kramer's best base running decision ever, as he drives one through right here to bring home the 9th run of the ball game. However, he rounded first base a little aggressively. He paid for it with the out, but the damage already done. 1 inning later, Quincy would add to the total. Zach Bailey stepping in. RBI rip right here on the fielder's choice, or actually the overthrow, I should say, on what should have been a simple fielder's choice. I think the run was going to score eventually anyway. Then Johnny Mannion adds to the 10-run rule and actually ends this game, making it 11-1. Quincy Legion with a big win over Jerseyville today. Well, we kicked off the senior All-Star circuit last week with the McDonald's Quincy Herald Wig All-Star Classic in basketball. Tonight, we continue the fun with the 24th annual West Central Illinois High School Football All-Star Game held at that brand spanking new field at Sacred Heart Griffin. A good one today. The north side with all of our local players that we cared about. That included the quarterback in this game. Pittsfield, Seth Petty going to the air right here, hooking up with Lucas Brown out of Athens for the touchdown, a 20-yarder that made it 7-0 North. How about Jacksonville's Chaz Middlebrook? He, like Seth Petty, will be playing in the Do or Die Bowl. He scores a 1-yard touchdown, made it 13-7 at that point. More from Seth Petty. Had a great night throwing the football. Look at this, hooking up with Zach Grant, a name Quincy Notre Dame fans won't soon forget. 20-yard pickup to the Rochester wide receiver. Zach Grant can flat catch. More from Seth Petty going to the air yet again. This is just pretty stuff from one of the best receivers in the entire state. Mr. Grant goes in. North wins easily in this one, 34-6. And that's just a tease of the football ahead. Nice job, Seth Petty, because the Do or Die Bowl is now 13 days away, coming up on June 29th, as we show you the graphic right there. June 29th, Do or Die Bowl at Flynn Stadium on the campus, or just off the campus of Quincy High, right here in beautiful Gem City country. Again, tickets are already on sale here at the KHQA studios and should be on the website up in advance for $8. You pay $2 more at the gate. So get your tickets while they're hot. Great football coming your way very soon. It's speaking of football, on paper, Jacksonville High School has one of the most impressive football talent pools in memory, highlighted by a receiving core that features, get this, 2 tight ends already receiving heavy Division I recruiting attention in Dalton Keene and Blake Hance, not to mention a state champion sprinter on the outside in Reggie Bratton. The big question from our grounds this summer is just who it will be that will be delivering the football to those guys. We tried to find out today at 7-on-7 at IC today. Bryce Schnitker getting the call early in this against Porta, hooking up with the aforementioned Reggie Bratton, having a bit of a hamstring or groin issue. Wasn't running as fast as usual, fast enough to score there. Andy Mills, the returning starter at quarterback, also with a nice touchdown pass right here. But for the most part, most of the reps went to Schnitger today. I don't know if you can read anything into that or not. Schnitger again going to the air, trying to throw against the stiff wind here, and he'll complete a 2nd touchdown pass in this one. But some of Bryce Schnitger's best work, you remember his big brother Blake, really good quarterback. Some of Bryce's best work went to the outside to Andy Mills, who's the quarterback he's competing with. Mills apparently, if he doesn't win the quarterback position, going to line up on the edge. He looked pretty darn good at the receiver position. Look at him here. Great out pattern from Schnitger. Great catch from Andy Mills, who you might also recall outstanding defensive back. More from Schnitger to the air this time. Again to Andy Mills. Good looking stuff from there. We're going to continue with these highlights. Going to show you Concord Triopia, another team likely to be in our top 5, maybe even higher than that when we release our rankings in August. One of these guys, Derek Shoney, a big reason why. All-state caliber defensive back. He's also a pretty good receiver, as you will see here, catching the nice pass here from Tanner Huddleston, the returning quarterback. Triopia absolutely loaded at the Class 1 level. Pretty good defensive backs. Mentioned Derek Shoney already. You're looking at Cody Curry with a nice break up at the safety position right here. All of this coming against East Peoria under the direction of former Jacksonville assistant Sean Saylor, also at Macomb for a time. Good pickup right here by Josh Millard as well. Pleasant Hill also trying to replace some quarterbacks. One of the best in Matt Gunterman in the area. Tell you what, those Rodhouse kids, pretty darn good in the backfield. Look out for them. Pleasant Hill, I think, going to be a little better than anybody thinks. Certainly going to be much bigger than anybody thinks. And looking forward to the season ahead. Also, we ran our web poll this week. We're talking offensive linemen. A landslide, and maybe as it should have been. Nick Sievers, who's received 3 recruiting stars from Rival.com out of Macomb, your #1 pick. ahead of Brandon Burjoyce, who's probably going to be an all-state caliber offensive lineman from Clark County. Drew Miller from Camp Point Central came in third on our polling. And then you had Ben Holschlag and Will Funkenbush of Quincy Notre Dame and Palmyra, respectively, splitting the votes. I can't argue with your logic, people. You pretty much nailed this one. Nick Siever's about as good as it gets. And when we come back, we're going to talk some high school basketball because we had a ton of it going on today at Quincy University. That's up next.
You're watching KHQA Overtime with Chris Dewar. Brought to you by Con Communications.
And welcome back to Overtime, where it's time now for our latest June Con Communications Connection nominee, the best sports coupling of our month. Now, it's our job to submit 4 different highlight options for your perusal this month. Your job at the end of the month is to go to connecttrisdays.com and simply vote for your favorite. And as an added incentive to ensure the democratic process, if you vote, you become eligible to win a great prize package from Con. Our nominee from this week doesn't exactly come from this week. We've extended the statute of limitations to go back to last Saturday for what was one of the best dunks of the entire season. McDonald's Quincy Herald-Wig All-Star Game. Matthew Dusterhouse leaves it. D'Angelo Dean cleans it. Doesn't get much prettier than that, folks. D'Angelo Dean, yeah, throw the kisses and throw the hands up because you deserve it, big man. Great dunk, great stuff. Even Dalton Hoover giving him some love on that one. That's your third nominee. I tell you what, this has been a good month as we look at the previous nominees to compete against that one at the end of the month. You've got a couple of good ones. Macon Boone's game-winning walk-off home run in the state semifinals for Payson softball, and the phenomenal Nick Wyman, Jordan Chappell QND halfback option pass last week at Mizzou camp against Rockbridge. Lots of good stuff. I don't envy you your vote, but all you have to do is do vote, and you have a chance to win a wonderful, wonderful prize package. Well, this is shaping up to be one heck of a summer for the Payson Seymour boys basketball team. Brian Ray wanted to give his young charges a test this offseason, and man, have they responded. Coming into today's showdown with QND at the QU Shootout with a 29-3 record, and all 3 of those losses came to a school with an enrollment of better than 600 students. How would Payson fare today against Quincy Notre Dame? Pretty darn well in this one. How about we start you off with some Dalton Speckhardt, phenomenal post move, phenomenal spin, and just the sweet touch off the window for his team. Quincy Notre Dame, I must mention, had a lot of major injuries today, not playing but one starter for the most part in this game. Cody Hildebrand didn't care. He was going to hit jumpers no matter who he was playing against and do it well. There's Jake Voss coming up and playing strong right here. Again, Payson very, very smooth with those spin moves, and then more of Cody Hildebrand. You're going to watch him on defense, and he is relentless. Gets the tap on it, got those long arms. Great finish for him. Stellar give and go coming up right here between Hildebrand and Speckhardt, with Mr. Hildebrand finishing. Boy, these guys looked awfully impressive today, but we're not done with Payson Seymour kind of laying it on QND in this game, taking advantage of the window. Lance Bulig with the steal. At the other end is Jake Voss again, running free. Touchdown pass for him. More to come. The defense working hard. It's Hildebrand with the steal. Voss again at the other end. Oh, but we're not done. Payson just kind of running away with this one. Jacob Farr, young guy, little guy, but man, he's going to make some things happen right here with a nice pump fake as well. Good stuff from him. Joey Blickhand getting into the act as well in this one. And then you're going to see Gage Klitz right there finish up these highlights. Payson Seymour gets the win. We're going to continue with the highlights. Clark County taking on Hannibal. Lots of highlights to show you of this one today. I'll tell you what, Clark County putting on a clinic on the offensive glass today, largely because of the big fella, Kyle Kovar, who's going to come up and clean up the Lincoln Jones miss and do it nicely. A lot of that from Kovar today. He was not alone. Tommy Devers attacking the rack and doing so nicely right here. Hannibal Young, Hannibal doesn't have a whole lot of size, and that affected them negatively today against the Clark County team that has some bulk in the interior, more Kyle Kovar. How about some more Kyle Kovar? It was a Kyle Kovar kind of day right here. Gets the feed. Or actually, we'll clean up the offensive glass yet again. Good stuff from him. And then it's the speedy Austin Egley coming from the wing. Pretty kiss off the glass and off the window there for him. Clark County looking for more. They'd find some more right here. It's Kyle Kovar. Go figure that one. Nice. Oh, that's a pretty bucket as he draws the contact as well. Everything the kid threw up fell today. Chase Bevins punctuating the victory today with the three-pointer there. More highlights. Best game of the day, at least early on. Central and Liberty. Michael Blewett going to come up with a loose ball here, push it, and leave it for Brett Genenbacher, who had himself a pretty darn good day. Liberty trying to come back from a deficit against Central. A little more to come right here. How about the steal action at the other end? That's Douglas Weiss with the steal. And Marcus Landis is there to clean up. Still at the other end, Liberty pushing. Brett Genenbacher again, this time with a three-point play the traditional way. Bucket, Band-Aid, and spinorama, if you will, as he gets that to somehow go. Central, though, going to take a 2-point lead right here as Jason Dormeyer finds Taylor Hyman on the backdoor cut. Central led by 2. Michael Blewett with the play of this game. You're going to watch, first of all, you're going to watch some beautiful stuff there by Douglas Weiss as he finishes up as well. Central, again, leading by 1 at this point. Here comes Michael Blewett, though, with the steal at the other end that's going to really change the complexion of this game. Give his team, Liberty, a 39-38 lead late. Central can't close it out. One chance to try to win it at the buzzer. It's not going to happen, so it would be Central, or Liberty beating Central by 1 today, 39-33. Matthew Kennedy and Griggsville Perry taking on Beardstown. Nice bucket there for Mr. Kennedy. Back the other direction comes Delaney Ortiz and the Tigers. Ortiz running and doing it pretty well. That kid's an athlete. Pure and simple, good football player as well, and he's got a pull-up jumper. Ortiz showing it off there. Still in this game, back and forth we go. How about this guy, Matthew Kennedy, with the quick hands and a nice bucket at the other end. Great ball game there. More to come. How about Knox County and QND going at it in this one? It's a lot of Douglas Edwards early for Knox County as he gets the up fake and the go. QND, though, coming back in this ball game. I mentioned no Alex Fitch, no Connor Mellon, no Matthew McPherson. Lots of starters out in this game. Here comes Knox County attacking again with Douglas Edwards, and then the big fella Royce Poor, the All-State candidate, coming 3 at the other end, kissing one here. Here comes QND, though. R.J. Schottenkirk. Nice take for that guy right there, going to the heart of the Knox County defense and getting it done there. We're not done, though. More to come right here from Royce Poor on the outside, knocking down threes. How about more from Poor? You can't leave this kid open, not by a long shot. He's just awfully good. Going to finish at the other end in transition. Up fake, draws the contact, gets that to go. Royce Poor doing it today and doing it in every phase of the game, as it would be Knox County taking out QND, I think. I don't have a final on that one, but Knox County was leading late in this game. Don't want to tell you they won because we're not sure of that for sure, but Royce Poor putting on a clinic. Final set of highlights from this today. How about Payson Seymour, undefeated, still going into this against undefeated Keokuk? Let us switch up the highlights and show you those. Lily, go to the next tape. As Jeff Dahl's team is undefeated coming in, heading against undefeated Payson Seymour. This is the 8 o'clock game. Dan Williams for Keokuk, working it from the corner, wide open, hits the jumper. Williams is an athlete in his own right, pretty darn good football player as well. You will see him clean up three-pointer after three-pointer there. Kendall Clark, the big fella, making it work as well, as he's going to clean up the offensive glass for his team and get the 2 to go in. Payson, though, got it going from that point forward. Again, it's Cody Hildebrand feeding inside to Jake Voss, who gets the and 1 here. Then Hildebrand going to Voss again, this time in the post. A little more different look, a little different finish, but the same result at the end of it as he gets 2. Here's your play of the game, though. Joey Blickan bounces one wide open to Gage Klitz, who promised me a dunk. Hadn't dunked in the summer circuit yet. That'll work. Gage Klitz gives Payson a 46-34 victory in this one. Finally tonight, with your indulgence, and this is a little something different tonight that we don't usually do locally. I've never, I think in my 16 years, talked about an equipment manager, but I feel kind of compelled to do so tonight. And if you don't want to watch, I understand. I don't want to end on a somber note either, but I think it's something that needs to be said. It goes without saying what a tough year it's been for Macomb Sports. First, the ugly, awful mess with the Macomb boys basketball situation, and then over the holidays, the death of Charlie Houston, the outstanding official. But yesterday's news about the passing of Dan Rouse really hit us hard here because we've known Dan forever. And I know nobody outside of Macomb knows Dan, who's been the equipment manager for 4 decades at Macomb and Western Illinois, but anybody who's ever come in contact with Dan will tell you he's one of the sweetest, most selfless men in the world. And was the guy that kind of kept everything going. And he was the guy that would come up to you on the sideline and put his elbow in your side and have a joke for you and had one of the all-time great laughs. And he's one of those guys, and I've always believed in the world, we all stand taller on somebody else's shoulders. And Dan Rouse was the guy who was behind the scenes that made Macomb football look so good. He's also the guy that published this unbelievable orange Bible here that basically has every stat in the history of Macomb sports for us to peruse in the media. He was also that wonderfully warm voice at the other end of the phone on nights calling in scores from all parts of the state. I mean, these are the things that Dan selflessly did for Macomb sports, and he's truly going to be missed. The sad thing was, I don't know how well-traveled Dan was, but he got a chance to take his mother to Washington, D.C. this week, and he told me, he was so excited, he told me about it the last 2 times I saw him. I think he forgot he was so excited to tell me how much he wanted to go, and for him to pass away on that trip, I just hope and pray he was at the zenith of his joy when it happened, because he's a man who truly deserved it. A guy who worked the last 25 years essentially pro bono. And you hear us talk about how Chris Jackson is this great running back, and he's your KHQA Player of the Year, but without Dan Rouse and these stats, you'd have no context on just how good Chris Jackson is. Or you've heard us tell you tonight, Nick Sievers is this 3-star outstanding offensive lineman from Macomb. Well, nobody will see Nick Sievers if the equipment's not provided for him. And as I said, I think we all stand taller on other people's shoulders. Dan was the guy whose shoulders provided a lot of Macomb Bombers the chance to stand really tall in the spotlight. And for that, he'll be eternally missed, a wonderful man. Again, I hate to leave you on a somber note, but we really appreciate what you did, Dan. And I know heaven, they're wearing cleaner uniforms, and the stats have never been done better up in Macomb. So good for you, Rouser. We'll miss you. We'll be back with more overtime after this.